Right. Okay, brilliant. So we're going to look at some common grammar mistakes, and we're going to start by looking at. Oop, I was going to introduce myself. This is not going very well today. So if you haven't met me before, my name is Aga. I am a qualified English teacher. I completed a BA in English literature at Sheffield and a master's degree in language, culture and history from UCL in London. So just a few little things. Yes, broadband is an issue. It's never an issue, but now I'm doing a YouTube live. It is an issue. So I run this YouTube channel. Obviously, I'm very interested in grammar, and this is what we're talking about today. I have a grammar membership, which some of you are probably part of, where I have 18 courses about grammar. So I will just share the link with you in the chat if you're interested in finding out more. But let's just get this lesson started before something goes wrong with my sound again. So I'm going to show you the first mistake, and I want you to think about this sentence and tell me in the chat what the mistake is. If you're watching the recording of this, then just take a minute to think about what is wrong with this sentence. So I'll give you 1 minute to think about it. I will meet my friend in half an hour. Yeah, so I can already see in the chat there are some great answers. So the problem here is will. So this is something that is definitely happening in half an hour. I am sitting at a cafe looking at my watch, and I have arranged to meet a friend. So in this case, I'm going to use the present continuous. I'm meeting my friend. So Jana, I can see you've got the right answer. I'm meeting my friend in half an hour. It's a definite plan, a definite arrangement with somebody else. You can also say, I will meet my friend, but you can only say that if it's a spontaneous decision. So something that you decide at the time of talking. You can also say going to, but I'm actually about to publish a video about this next week, the difference between will and going to. So if you see my video next week, you will learn more about it. But let's just move on to the next mistake, which is this. If you will give me money, I will buy you lunch. What is the mistake here? I can see some answers in the chat, but I'm going to give you 15 more seconds to think about it. So I can see, Olga, you've got the right answer. If you give me money, I will buy you lunch. So this is a conditional sentence. It's the first conditional. And in those sentences, we have if, the present simple, and then will. So we can't have if and will in the same part of the sentence. Brilliant. If you have any questions about this, feel free to post them in the chat. But let's move on to the next sentence. I work here since 2021. What is the mistake? So take 30 seconds to think about it. So there are actually two correct answers, and I can see people posting them in the chat. So if you said I have worked or I have been working, they are both correct. So in my example, I actually put I have worked, which is the present perfect, which means I started in 2021 and I still work here. So it's the present perfect to talk about that whole period of time between when I started and now. And you can also use the present perfect continuous. And there isn't really a difference when you use it with the verb to work. I have been working kind of emphasizes the continuous nature of this action. And sometimes when we use the present perfect continuous, it kind of it suggests that it's not forever. It's just something that you've been doing, but you might do something different in the future. But both are correct in this example. So like I said to you, I do, if you've watched my videos before, you probably already know that I like to compare things to each other. And this is definitely something that I think helps learners when you ask yourself, when you're speaking English, you always have to decide, right? You have to decide, do I use the present perfect or the past simple, used to or would? So I think it's a useful way of doing this. And that's exactly how I teach in the video courses inside my English grammar membership. So if you're watching it live, then you can have a look on my website. If you're watching the recording, I will put the link in the video description so you can find out more about this. But I've got courses about tenses, conditionals, reported speech, passive voice, and everything else that you need to speak confidently. So let's move on to the next mistake. I have read this book last year. What is the mistake? So I can already see that people in the chat are putting, I read this book last year. But can you tell me why? Why is it read and not have read? Have a think about that if you're watching the recording. Yeah, so Faith, I can see you put in the chat, it's already completed. Yeah, it's a completed action in the past, and it's also clear when exactly it happened. So it happened last year. It's a specific point in the past. So I read this book last year. It is also possible to say, I have read this book using the present perfect, which is also a completed action. But in this sentence, I am not saying when it happened. So finished action, but it doesn't matter when. Oh, someone's saying that they can't hear me. Can anyone else hear me? Or are we having issues again? Right, I'm going to move on. Okay. Okay, some people can hear me, some people can't hear me. And let's see how it goes. Okay, brilliant. Let's look at the next example. So I didn't used to like coffee, but now I like it. What is the mistake here? So take 30 seconds to think about it. So the mistake here is very tiny. And some of you have spotted this. I didn't used to like coffee. So this is something that we use to talk about something that was true in the past, but it's not true now. So used to, but when it's a negative sentence, we just have to remove the D from the end. So I didn't used to like coffee. And it's the same in questions. When you have a question with used to, you also have to remove the D. So did you used to like coffee? If you have any questions about this, you can ask me in the chat. Here's the next one. Two people talking to each other, and she's saying, I'm not believing you. What is wrong with this? This is quite an easy one. So it's more for those of you who are beginners, pre-intermediate. I don't believe you. So the correct answer is I don't believe you. So believe is one of those verbs that don't really take ing at the end. So even though the conversation is happening now and she is saying it right now, she needs to use the present simple. So I don't believe you. Number 7, I'm working since this morning. And this one is tricky because in some languages, if you're Italian or Spanish or French or Polish or Ukrainian, this might actually look correct to you because in your language, this is how you talk about this tense. But I can see that you know what the mistake is from your comments in the chat. I'm working since this morning. So since is your keyword. It's your clue. When you see since, usually that means you need a perfect tense rather than present continuous or present simple. So in this case, we're going to use the present perfect continuous. So I've been working. I have been working since this morning. And I can see Julia, Paulita, you got it right. Lots of other people have in the chat. So this is a tense that is for talking about a continuous action that started in the past and it is still happening in the present. And it's to emphasize that it's continuous, that is ongoing. So I started working this morning and I am still working right now. I have been working. Okay, this one is quite difficult, so get ready. I've been cleaning my flat. No, sorry. I've been cleaning for a long time when you arrived at my flat. What is wrong? I'm going to give you a bit longer. I think some of you will know. Some of you might not know. I can already see some of you are advanced learners. So you know the answer. Let's spend a bit more time thinking. Oh, I can see somebody suggested a future tense. Interesting. Yes, Maria, I can see you said past perfect continuous, and that is exactly what we need. I'd been cleaning, so I had been cleaning. So instead of have been, we need had been. And it's because the action started before something else in the past. So in the previous slide, we had I have been working because it's something that is still happening right now. But here, it is not happening right now, but it was happening at the time when you arrived, and it started before you arrived. So this whole situation is in the past. It's not connected to the present at all. So it started before you arrived, and I was still cleaning when you arrived. So the past perfect continuous. If you have any questions about this, just let me know in the chat because it's quite a tricky one. So we've got a couple of things left. We've got this one. She's playing football every weekend. And again, in many languages, this is perfectly correct. In many languages, this is how we talk, but not in English. What is wrong with this? So this is probably quite an easy one for a lot of you. And I can see that a lot of you got it right in the chat. So she plays football every weekend. It's a regular action that she does regularly every weekend. So we need the present simple, the present simple tense. I'm just going to take a little break to answer a question from Paulita in the chat. So the difference between since and for. And I do have a longer video on YouTube about this, so you can search for it. But just to explain it briefly, since is to talk about when something started, and for is to talk about how long. So, for example, I have lived here since 2023. It means that I started living here in 2023, and I still live here now. But I want to emphasize when it started. But if I say I have lived here for 2 years, it means the same thing. I still live here, but this is to emphasize the duration. So how long? So since a specific point and for a specific period of time. Okay. And then we've got another quick question, I think, about this slide about playing football. So why add the S? So S is because it's the third person singular. So we say I play, you play, but she plays. So when it's he, she, or it, you need S. And yes, Julia, I can see your comment. It's about habits. Okay, so let me just move on to, before it gets too confusing with the questions, let's just move on the final mistake, and then I will take some time to answer your questions. So I don't want to go for a walk because it rains. It rains. So if there are any French speakers here, you might think, that looks correct. Because I know in French, you just say, il pleut, it rains, but not in English. Yes, so many of you got it right. It is raining. So this is a woman sitting by the window. She can look outside and see that right now it is raining. So we need the present the present continuous. It rains is fine, but in a different situation. For example, where I live, it rains a lot. It rains every week. So it's a regular action, but it is raining. It's something that is happening right now. So just to remind you about my English grammar membership, if you're interested in learning grammar in your own time, because all of these courses are video courses that you can complete anytime you want. So it's perfect if you're working, if you're studying, if you don't have much time, you can log in anytime and complete the lessons, do the exercises. So you just need to go to my website to find out more. And if you're watching the recording of this lesson, then you can just look in the video description if you're interested. But let's just take some questions now, because you did so well with this lesson. I mean, so many correct answers. I feel like it was too easy for some of you. So if you have any questions about more difficult topics or anything you're unsure about, then let me know in the chat, and I will also answer those questions in the chat. Or maybe I will do that in the chat. So I think there was a previous question about, I think I missed it now. Okay, so there's a question from Adelma. Why go for a walk and not on foot? So they're both correct. They are just different things. To go for a walk just means you're going outside and you're going to be walking. On foot, it's more if you are talking about how you're going to get there specifically. So, for example, I'm going to the cinema later. How are you going to get there? I can say by car, by bus, or on foot. Whereas to go for a walk is more like an activity in itself. So I'm a bit bored. What can I do? I know I'm going to go for a walk. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, you can go for a walk in the park as a kind of activity in itself without necessarily going anywhere specific. So Julia, I can see your question about I am working and I have been working. So you can't actually say I am working since this morning. That is incorrect. So when you say I am working, you're just talking about right now. So right in this moment, I am working. And this sentence is only about right now. But if you say I have been working since this morning, it means you started this morning and now it's lunchtime and you're still working. So you are talking about the whole morning and now. That is the difference. I hope that makes sense. Karim, I can see a question about the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. So they are quite different things. The present perfect continuous is more about continuous actions. So, for example, I have been talking to you for 30 minutes because it's a continuous action. I'm talking. But you can, if something is less of a continuous action. So, I have known my neighbor for 3 years. It's not a continuous action. It's just something more kind of general. I have played tennis every weekend for the last year. Again, it's not a continuous action. It's a regular action that has taken place every weekend for the past year. Sometimes you can use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous interchangeably. So, for example, with the verb to work, so I have worked here for 2 years and I have been working here for 2 years. They're the same. Or you can say with the verb to live, so I have lived here or I have been living here. Also, you can use them interchangeably. Right. I hope that makes sense. Next time, I need to figure out how to put my answers on the screen. But I haven't prepared this. This is my second live session ever, so bear with me. It's not perfect. Let me see if there are any other questions. Noam, how long does it take to finish a complete grammar course? So how long does it take? It depends on how much time you have, but the lessons themselves are quite short. So the way I've made the courses is specifically for busy people. So, if you only have time to do one lesson, it's just, 15 minutes, spend 15 minutes a day. You can technically complete it all in 1 month and just pay for 1 month and then cancel. If you don't have much time, then, start the membership, do 1 month and see how it goes. You can pay for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. So it just really depends on you and how much time you have. There's a question about prepositions. Yes, I will be making some videos about prepositions soon, definitely. Oh, thank you for your lovely comments. I'm glad you're finding this useful. Do you have any other questions about anything? We've got a couple of minutes left, so okay, Faith. So you can't say I live here since. No. So when you say since, and you're talking about something that started in the past and is still true now, then you need a perfect tense. For example, the present perfect. So you need I have lived here or I have been living here. When you say I live here, it just means right now, I live here. So Maria, I can see your question, but I'm not sure what you mean. The word did is followed by V1. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Any other questions from anyone? Hi, is it Michael, Michelle? I'm not sure how to say your name, but good morning. Reported speech. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I do have lots of lessons about reported speech in my grammar membership. So make sure you check it out if you'd like to learn the details. It is quite a tricky topic. So I don't think I can teach you everything on this lesson, on this live lesson. Right. Okay. Right. So I think is it live every week? Well, hopefully I'll be doing, I've only just started doing these lives. So I've done 2 so far this month. And my idea is to do it 2 or 3 times a month. I will let you know on social media or or by email if you're on my mailing list when the next one will be. It won't be next week, but it might be early May. But I think it's a nice way to kind of talk to you guys and answer some questions that you might have, and it gives me some ideas for future videos as well. So that's great. Okay, so I think I'm going to wrap up. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment on the recording. I will be able to see those comments once the recording is live. And thank you so much. Thanks, Paulita. I'm glad you found the video about countable and uncountable nouns interesting. Thank you. And thanks so much for joining. Like I said, if you are interested in my grammar membership, where I have 18 video courses about grammar, then feel free to take a look at the link, which is in the chat. And if you're watching the recording, it's in the description. And yeah, thanks so much for your lovely comments and questions, and well done. And I'll see you soon.